every coach got eyes. Only few can see. That coach who stood by the field, who saw the young Messi, knew 20 years down the road that he will be a famous footballer. The same with Ronaldo. These are the people who have rolled up their sleeve. So seize this opportunity and ask questions. Because you young, I think Mr. Lingam said X, Y generation, I still get confused which is which. I'm the baby boomer generation. Seize this opportunity and ask a question because you will be your leaders. I'd like to introduce the next panelist. This gentleman is from MIDA. I like his acronym because it reminds me of the multi-billionaire AK. The Executive Director of MIDA, Encik Ahmad Khairuddin. Silakan Tuan. Encik Khairuddin, what are the existing learning initiatives and knowledge sharing in MIDA? Could you please give us some insight so that everyone here can understand?
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. SOP for MIDA, before we start, we have to introduce MIDA to everybody. Especially because we have less engagement with GKR. So many of you may not know what MIDA is. Okay, MIDA stands for Malaysian Investment Development Authority. So we are the principal government agency for the promotion of investment in Malaysia and into Malaysia. So we cover foreign direct investment as well as domestic investment. In terms of sectors, we cover all economic sectors except finance, insurance, banking, and utilities. Because we have Bank Negara to handle all the financial matters, and utility we have the Ketetap, Kementerian Tenaga, they handle all those things. Other than that, all under MIDA. Certain things we give license and we give incentive, and certain things we are just facilitator. That's a nutshell about MIDA. So we have 800 staff in MIDA, 700 in Kuala Lumpur. We have 23 office centers in the export, capital export countries, and we have all offices in the States except police, covered by Kedah. So in a nutshell, that's all MIDA all about. So I'm not the CIO of MIDA because he's now in China. MIDA people travel every week. So I'm just the ordinary people, but being in MIDA, we are multitasking. We can do everything. So this is a good thing about knowledge sharing here. I got to bring along my notes here, being a not CIO. With regard to your question, how we share knowledge here. In MIDA, we are ISO certified. So a lot of things have been structured. So a lot of things have been documented. The SOP is there. The most important thing is organizing trade mission. So we have to organize for top bar. So every detail had got to be in the SOP. Even the food he likes. You know what he likes? Kijang. He likes fruits. He likes fish, but not chicken or beef. Even that detail, you have to put it into our SOP. Some tacit knowledge, the way you behave cannot be documented. So you know all those things. So there's some explicit knowledge and some tacit knowledge. So we share with our MIDA officers. We have a mentoring program. It has been there many years ago, but we have structured it in such a way that for this year, we have group, we are connected to succession plan. So all the directors in MIDA, we have 31 divisions headed by director. There are mainly 54, grade 54. We choose the high flyers, about 5 of them, and they have 5 mentees for each mentor. So it takes a few months for them to mentor the mentee. So they talk about succession planning, because when this director promoted, taking my place, then the deputy become the director. So mentor-mentee program is now in place in MIDA. That's our first phase. Next phase, we go to the second, not high flyer, maybe later on to those having problems. I think we are successful in capital mentoring there. Then after action reviews, we call it about after implementation review or postmortem. People do like postmortem, but MIDA is postmortem. Every trade mission, we have postmortem. Because when it comes to trade mission, it involves minister. So we have to improve every trade mission. We have 4 or 5 trade missions every year. We have this also the domestic seminars, the specialist program. We have to do all this postmortem. Yeah. And then we have management talks. We have, we come to retiree, we have one call it coffee with Otai. Those ex-MIDA, we call them everyone once a month to talk about the experience with MIDA, how to avoid the yuppies, the Gen Y, Gen X, all those things. I think they are very good. I think they are quite receptive. We have the subject matter expert. So these are the people, they are either directors or they are deputy directors. They will engage with the new officers. Because in MIDA, we talk about so many industries, about 12 industries, and I'm not good in all of them. So this SME, for example, the chemical, so he will brief those new intake on other sectors as well. Okay, good. And then we have this give back program. Those returning officers from overseas, like I was posted to London and Sydney before, so after I came back, then I got to give lecture to those young people about how to do our work in Sydney, in London. Because when dealing with business people overseas, you're talking about culture. English culture is different from Australian culture. Both speak English, but the culture is different. The way they behave, the way they talk, the accent, those things, quite interesting to know. Because you take for granted, because they are all English speaking, but somehow the language, the British, they're quite Polish. You have to read along the lines, between the lines, but not Australian. They're quite direct like the Americans. So these are tacit knowledge we cannot document. Yeah, that's true. The give back program will help. And then we have town hall. Town hall is where our CEO we engage with the officers. We have it about once in 3 months, yeah, every quarter. And then we have this company visit. MIDA, we're dealing with companies. Almost every month that we visit the companies, we bring the seniors and the young officers will go along together. How then they visit the company, they know how the company operates, and then they discuss about that. There are a few other things. These are the main ones, and how we share knowledge in MIDA. Okay, thank you.
Encik Khairuddin, based on what you've just said, you have a knowledge portal. Your people upload their own content. They make web queries from all over the world. It's accessible 24/7. I also understand that MIDA has selected about 35 MIDA officers to start a knowledge sharing COP. Please tell us about that.
We have EDMS. We was launched April 2014, and we have 40 COPs. We have 31 divisions, and all division about could be with around the number of people could be 5 to 15. So have 31 COPs plus some specific COP being created due for certain reason. So now we have about 3,800 articles, presentations, minutes of meetings, circulars being uploaded by the individual officers. Somehow, MIDA, we are quite fortunate. We have monthly, weekly management meeting. When we go for meeting, the CEO will ask, what have you done for your EDMS? Have you uploaded? So somehow, monitoring or say the supervising, or coordinating being done at that management meeting. So we're quite upbeat about it. We're quite happy having 3,800 articles being uploaded. Then with regard to the 35 people, it was a pilot project. We had it last year. It was a good feedback because for 3 months, we had 3 days of workshop. These 35 people, we collected about 368 issues. After fine-tuning, some are like garbage or very vague. So we had 219 real issues to be discussed, to be shared among MIDA officers. quite encouraging. And our CEO is quite upbeat about this program. We plan to have it somehow due to the budget cut. We have to defer, but we are upbeat about it. In case there is key next year, perhaps we may launch it because it's quite expensive. But we know it's a need for MIDA because we are such a huge organization. We have to depend on others to shorten the learning curve among our officers. And MIDA also, because we are competing against our neighbors, EDB Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, all are promoting investment. In this globalization era, you have to do fast. MIDA officers need to be quick giving decision. That's why it's important for us to share knowledge through e-portal, we'll call it Care Forum or EDMS. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Khairuddin. In the essence of time, I'd like to call upon the last panelist, the Executive Director for Knowledge Connections, Ms. Geeta Albert, please. Geeta, the question I have for you is that Knowledge Connections started COPs in 2007. 2012, you all embarked on developing a virtual COP. Please elaborate or give us some insight on that.
Good morning, folks. Now, when we commenced in 2007, it was just a face-to-face initiative. The whole objective was to touch base with our customers. We had around 230 organizations using our products and services, and we needed to communicate and talk to them. And there were around 10 engineers who were supporting the front end. So this COP face-to-face engagement came out of a sheer need to meet. And in order to do that first, in 2007, we know when we read up research by Wenger, we know that we need to create domains. And in order to do that, we need to get industry leaders to talk to us, to advise us on what kind of initiatives should be required for the library industry that we were in. So we got the domains explained by industry icons, we got the practices, and that's how we reached. But we realized in 2012, after doing 3 initiatives per year, meeting up around 1,000 over library folks, we realized we couldn't capture those experiences. So out of that, we decided to embark on the online COP. Yeah? So that's how it came about.
The pressing question that my dear friends are going to ask you, but they'll ask through me, is what motivates people? Getting people to get involved in COPs, it's very challenging. So what motivates them?
Now with Dr. Lingam here, who just spoke vividly on knowledge sharing factors, I don't think I will touch base on that. But basically, just to say that in a COP, if it's an online COP, you have elements which are knowledge contributors, and then you have knowledge seekers, some call it lurkers. Now, the difference is the ones who are posting, they've got a different motivational element. So some say that they are intrinsically motivated. They like to share, they like to assist. The sad thing is they only comprise between 2 to 6% of the community. So that's basically, the rest of them are the ones who are lurking or knowledge seekers. And they are extrinsically motivated, which means that they need to have good content, they need to have a proper use of interface, they are very demanding. So there is a whole string that Mr. Lingam had mentioned. I think Dr. Lingam, you mentioned that matrix diagram. That's the answer. That's safe, that's very safe.
The last question I have is this. Taking a line out of Encik Khairuddin, in the essence of time, I'd like to call upon the last panelist, the Executive Director for Knowledge Connections, Ms. Geeta Albert, please. Geeta, the question I have for you is that Knowledge Connections started COPs in 2007. 2012, you all embarked on developing a virtual COP. Please elaborate or give us some insight on that.
Good morning, folks. Now, when we commenced in 2007, it was just a face-to-face initiative. The whole objective was to touch base with our customers. We had around 230 organizations using our products and services, and we needed to communicate and talk to them. And there were around 10 engineers who were supporting the front end. So this COP face-to-face engagement came out of a sheer need to meet. And in order to do that first, in 2007, we know when we read up research by Wenger, we know that we need to create domains. And in order to do that, we need to get industry leaders to talk to us, to advise us on what kind of initiatives should be required for the library industry that we were in. So we got the domains explained by industry icons, we got the practices, and that's how we reached. But we realized in 2012, after doing 3 initiatives per year, meeting up around 1,000 over library folks, we realized we couldn't capture those experiences. So out of that, we decided to embark on the online COP. Yeah? So that's how it came about.
The pressing question that my dear friends are going to ask you, but they'll ask through me, is what motivates people? Getting people to get involved in COPs, it's very challenging. So what motivates them?
Now, with Dr. Lingam here, who just spoke vividly on knowledge sharing factors, I don't think I will touch base on that. But basically, just to say that in a COP, if it's an online COP, you have elements which are knowledge contributors, and then you have knowledge seekers, some call it lurkers. Now, the difference is the ones who are posting, they've got a different motivational element. So some say that they are intrinsically motivated. They like to share, they like to assist. The sad thing is they only comprise between 2 to 6% of the community. So that's basically, the rest of them are the ones who are lurking or knowledge seekers. And they are extrinsically motivated, which means that they need to have good content, they need to have a proper user interface, they are very demanding. So there is a whole string that Mr. Lingam had mentioned. I think Dr. Lingam, you mentioned that matrix diagram. That's the answer. That's safe, that's very safe.
The last question I have is this. Taking a line out of Dr. Lingam's presentation, the act of sharing knowledge, to share it with other people, and what Professor Reza said something very interesting, the marriage of religion with teaching is passing it from the mouth to the next person, sharing it with your heart, and sharing your moral values, and you'll become innovative. The question I have is, after all this, what is next? What is next with knowledge connection and COPs?
Okay. 2007, when we commenced, it was face-to-face. 2012, we went into virtual communities and we embarked on that. Then what we realized is people put in issues, I mean the posters put in issues, there is no measurement to find out the relevancy of it. we do not know how much of the issues people are using it. So that is the next thing. We are going to do that. But you can't do it immediately. You have to wait until some form of traffic has been built into the system, which means that there is some 3,000 to 5,000 content whereby we can go out to the users of this COP to find out how relevant it is. And at the same time, I think we discussed this with JKR to build a COP health check. That is something that it is still in a very, what shall I say, baby state. We just talked about it in Sasana some months back, and we said, okay, we are here, how do we start it, and how do we tell organizations you are in level 1 or you're on level 2? So basically 2 things, measuring and a health check. Yeah.
I think what you were trying to say, the COP health check is at its infancy stage.
You're not just thought of.
Any questions from the floor, please? Yes, sir.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. I'm Yazid from Securities Commission Malaysia. I have 2 questions and 1 comment. My first comment is first of all, thank you for the insights from the panelists. My comments to Colonel Zulkifli. Just now you did mention that your successor did call you and asking about what do you call it, your experience on handling issues, right? To me personally, that's KM already. For me, KM does not require system. Doesn't necessarily need a system, or you need to put it in the papers, all those things. What you did is actually a KM already, right? My question to Cik Khairuddin, when you develop your EDMS, did you take into account the requirement to comply with the National Archive Act 2003, the Akta 629, where ministries, government agencies are required to comply with their law in managing documents. And my third question to the panelists is that, excuse me, we often discussing about the issue of the factor of knowledge sharing, which is culture, organizations, and also leaderships. But we seldomly talk about what it takes to be an effective KM practitioner. What do we need to be an effective KM practitioner? Do we need good communication skills? Do we need good negotiation skills, networking skills, or in fact, the knowledge of the organization business strategy, where you can actually align your KM strategy with your business strategy? So what's your comment on that? Thank you very much.
Do I have to respond to that? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much on that. Thank you that mentioning that I'm already doing a KM when I left the organization. That guy still keep on calling me, but it could have been much better if I've left whatever that I learned, my experience within the organization, so that they can go through whatever that I have left behind. But in terms of maintaining relationship, connection, it is good for him to call me. Right? Thank you. That's just my comment.
On my part on archiving, yeah, for sure, for the company's file, the physical file, we are aware, we have been doing that. On the EDMS, can I post this to Haslida, whether you are aware how we manage this EDMS? Any idea? Okay, we don't have any answer for the moment. Okay, thanks.
Can we come back to you on whether we are complying with the audit archiving statement and all that, because we have to check with the several departments. I don't think the library is able to answer that. Yeah. Your third question was on what kind of skills? Rosnita, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, thank you. To me, whatever that you have mentioned, those are the skills that is needed to be an effective knowledge manager. Of course, knowledge management is not only compiling and managing, organizing all the knowledge, but also in networking. That is very crucial. You have to know who has the knowledge, where it's resided, and how to get the knowledge, because your intention is to make the knowledge accessible, and the knowledge must be the right knowledge, to be given at the right time. Maknanya, when people want that knowledge, it is there. They know it's there. They know how to find it. So basically what you have mentioned covers all the skills that a knowledge manager should have.
Okay, adding to that, now we have got a very interesting implementation experience that we are embarking right now in the academia, and our job was to get the libraries involved in managing knowledge and lead the project. That's our job. So skills had to be relearned. And the thing we have to learn was how to promote. So earlier, when we looked at the skills, of course, capturing, that was one. Then when you want to document it, the library had to, correlate or discuss with the domain owner how the taxonomy needs to be built. That's a skill by itself. Then once the content is there, who's going to promote it? So then we had to look at new ways of promoting content. Are we using the web, the blogs, or is it word of mouth marketing? So those are the skills that we are undergoing with the library folks on how to look into that element. So not just managing the content, promoting it, harvesting it, and fine-tuning and filtering it to make sure it is relevant. Because when you go into online COP, a lot of conversations happen. You have, I think, in JKR, there are around 3,000 over conversations. But not all conversations are relevant, so it needs to be filtered. So then comes a new skill on that. So if I don't have the right answers, but documented on virtual COPs, there were around 10 skills. So we can provide you the information during lunchtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need to stop this because we're running out of time. That said and done, we've had a diverse number of panelists here from across the board in different industries. I would like to thank Puan Rosnita, Colonel Zol, Encik Khairuddin, and Ms. Gita Albert for their amazing insight into COPs. I hope you can take something out of this. With that, I would like to hand over this forum to Encik Fauzi.
Terima kasih Encik Kelvin G. Simon. Terima kasih kepada para panel, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian. Seterusnya, majlis mempersilakan Datuk Dr. Zaitun Osman ke pentas untuk menyampaikan cenderahati kepada panel. Dipersilakan. Dijemput Colonel Zulkifli Abdullah, Chief Information Officer, National Defence University of Malaysia, UPNM. Dan seterusnya, Encik Ahmad Khairuddin Abdul Rahim, Executive Director, Malaysian Investment Development Authority, MIDA. Majlis mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Datuk Dr. Zaitun Osman dan semua para panel. Para hadirin sekalian, untuk agenda seterusnya, Saya minta kerjasama semua hadirin untuk ke sebelah kanan bagi sesi Knowledge Cafe. Dan sesi ini akan dikawal selia oleh Cik Nur Takrim Ibrahim. Setiap peserta telah pun diberi nombor semasa sesi pendaftaran. Peserta hendaklah mengikut nombor-nombor yang diberikan berdasarkan meja-meja yang disediakan. Dengan segala hormatnya dipersilakan. Itu antara senarai fasilitator yang akan mengenalikan setiap kumpulan. Baik, saya akan terangkan apakah itu Knowledge Cafe. Alright. So, of course, Knowledge Cafe adalah merupakan satu proses berada dalam satu hingga kedua hari. The COP is to provide creative inputs from the various participants. Alright. In this case, dalam ini, setiap kumpulan, kalau kita dapat lihat, datang daripada berbagai latar belakang. Ya, 456 ialah knowledge sharing in organizations. Ya, simple. Simple tak? Takkan? Alright. Now, the mechanism, ya, dan setiap facilitator akan mainkan penting untuk setiap kumpulan. Selepas 15 minit berakhir, kumpulan akan bergerak kepada musim pertama, 15 minit pertama kita topik lain. Alright, so same goes to another group. Kumpulan 4 move pada kumpulan 5. Kumpulan siapa yang akan dokumentkan next round?
My name is Tasbir and I'm from Negara.
Now,
The topic for our knowledge tak dapat jawab tadi. Okay, Dato'. I think the topic for our discussion is what are the strategies adopted by your knowledge organization.
It go by person.
Ini JPR juga, JPDR. Okay, so the JPDR.
Kita juga ada sharing session. Sharing session yang selalu. It can be official, it can be very unofficial.
baik, kita tinggal lagi 10 minit. Ya, 10 minit untuk pusingan pertama.
Speakers corner. Kita ada speakers corner. Pukul 8, so kita take turns. Kawan ada juga.
Management dalam JPDR tu and
So share, we read, sebagainya semua adalah kepala kita.
Akhir 5 minit terakhir sebelum kita beralih kepada pusingan kedua. Okey, untuk dokumenter. So cuma 3 orang je yang stay. Host, documenter and facilitator. What we are trying to share with all of you today is the concept, community of practice.
Hi, my name is Vincent Das and we do platforms and systems, but getting Wednesday of the month, every other Wednesday of the month, the CFO, for example, pays for lunch and says, okay, this team will attend lunch, spend 1 hour. Suggestion, okay, this is not in place yet, but this is a suggestion.
The difficulty they are facing is the generation gap.
My daughter uses Google for everything. Okay? Whereas we would be looking at each other in the eye and asking questions and talking. We even know each other's names. They only know Google. So that's a difficulty. And they don't have a solution. They just have a couple of words on a computer, whereas the different generation can actually tell you how to do it. So that is the issue that Maya faces. Sorry?
It's okay.
You agree?
General Motors, where I worked for many years, where I continued to work. In 2003, we decided to come up with a portal to share common HR practices across the region. So we said 13 countries are going to do it one way because it's too expensive to do it in many different ways. But because the leader basically said, you will do this or you won't have a job, everybody did it. But how did we do it? We got 13 countries together and came up with common processes for everyone for HR. So everyone did it in a specific way. We got it, we documented it, and we put it on an HR portal. So everyone across the region knew where to go and pick up the information for how to do processes. That's the good part of the story. The bad part of the story is the leader who passionately championed it retired. When he retired, the new leader came in, that was not her interest. Okay, so updating this process and documentation when things change has not been so successful.
Okay, Mr. Wilson. Thank you.
Are we done?
And also discussion with group 2. Okay, our topic was on the strategies adopted by our organizations to mitigate the risk of knowledge loss and what are the constraints that we face in implementing these strategies. Okay, as we found out, most of us are from government agencies. So the first one is to develop comprehensive SOPs in government agencies, known as file manager, also notas lahan tugas. The problem is that sometimes the person that's handling the job is didn't do the SOP quite well, didn't give the tugas to the successor very clearly. And in my case, my job was created 10 years ago, and there was no one to look up to. So I had to create my own SOP, so I didn't know it was correct or not. And I'm sorry because I'm not quite good in presentation. Okay, secondly, was your case. But it's up, so I have to look for this one. Oh yes, about JKRCOP, we also created JKpedia. I think 2 platforms that is quite good for people in charge to give up their information and also their knowledge to their successors or other people interested in their job. However, the problem is that they didn't have enough time. There's always they have to do their own job, and they also have to contribute their knowledge to the platforms. Even though I was told that even during projects they have to update their findings or their projects to the platform, but sometimes because again time is the problem.
Okay, Sasana, thank you. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, ladies and gentlemen. This is a closing speech. The organizing committee has instructed me to go beyond thanking you. Now, Cik Fauzi has already thanked you. So what I shall do now is just to summarize what has been going on the whole morning. Now, you may not know it, but the whole morning you were involved with knowledge sharing through 2 presentations by the industry speakers, the panel speakers, also knowledge sharing, and finally the knowledge cafe. So from these 3 formats of activities, you have been involved with knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer. Now all I have to do now is just to summarize what has been going on the whole day, the whole morning. Now, Fauzi, you know me and my... Yeah. Okay, I have on the screen 3 bubbles which actually hark back to the first presentation by the first presenter. He also had the 3 bubbles. Now, I have put in the center here the KM strategy. If you were to listen to the speakers, the panelists, and the Knowledge Cafe participants, you would realize that for knowledge management to work, or for the COP to be effective, you must have the KM strategy. The knowledge strategy that must be devised or formulated by all organizations to enable COP to move. All right? Now, this is the KM strategy, which is critical for the whole of knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer to take place. There are 3 components that I would like to touch on, which have been mentioned here throughout the morning. One is the practice. The practice actually provides the context of knowledge management. There is a strategy that the management of the organization must formulate so that everyone in the organization will know how important knowledge transfer and knowledge sharing is. The organization structure is critical to facilitate knowledge management. The operating structure, which is the existence of coordinating integrated mechanism, must be in place to enable knowledge sharing to take place. And then you must provide incentives and culture. Now, incentives has not been much discussed this morning, but it's just a critical component of knowledge transfer and knowledge sharing. And the other one, of course, is organizational culture, which Dr. Lingam has in his paper, but I think we just focused on leadership, right? So that is a context that must be available, and these are the components within the context that can facilitate knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer. The other one is knowledge, and the knowledge that's transferred or shared would either take in the form of codified versus tacit. Now, you can have a whole workshop on just this aspect, whether it should be codified versus tacit, because in any organization, if you take, for example, the Vice Chancellor of a university, he does multiple jobs, all right? And each job will give him the tacit, the experience, the values that he has, which would incorporate into his tacit knowledge. All right, now not only is he a Vice Chancellor, he's also an academician. He has to lecture, and he also has to be in touch with the Ministry of Education. So he plays a different role for different purposes. So in that case, we will have to understand what is tacit, infer, and what is codified. All right, but as I told you, it will take another workshop. Now, the other one that's important for knowledge, for the knowledge to be transferred or to be shared, is whether there is a proven record of its usefulness. Now, in the academic circle, I come from University of Malaysia, so the experience in influences my thinking. Now, in the case of universities, there is such a thing as citation index, where if you're a good professor and you have written prolific articles, etc., then people will cite you. So that means that you are a specialist in your field, because people will cite you in their articles. So if you are cited in any citation journal, it shows that you are an expert, all right? So this is where we, for our knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer, this is our next step, I feel, where you will have to show people your proven, the knowledge that you have in the database is being used. You know how many people are using it, for what purpose, etc. Now that is the evaluation perspective that needs to go beyond the strategy. Okay? And then now, as for the knowledge sources, people you get knowledge from, they must have the expertise and trustworthiness there is a story about a marketing division in a company that provides the organization, his company, with lots of false details. So, which made it seem that the marketing division is doing so well, when in reality it wasn't. It was a failure, and of course they were found out. But that is what is meant by the trustworthiness of your knowledge source. Yeah. So kalau nak tipu sana sini pun nak perlu buat pandai-pandai sikit kan. So here, not only must the experts be trustworthy, they have to be reliable, and they also must project the perceived motivation of source, you know. So here, if the person is motivated, then the procedure of knowledge sharing will be facilitated. The community, of course, are the people involved, the various members of COP or forums, etc. And they're known as the recipients of the knowledge that is being transferred. Now here, the lack of motivation is critical and must be identified, so that this here, your KM strategy must take into consideration the level of motivation in any organization for knowledge sharing to be effective. And then there must be an ability on the part of the recipients of the knowledge to search for, receive and evaluate knowledge. So when you have a database of knowledge, like for example McKinsey's is the most fantastic, McKinsey, Citibank, etc. They have a huge database, yeah, but whether you can retrieve it or not, for what purpose, etc., is also critical. So when they talk about competencies today, competencies involved in knowledge sharing, etc., this is a critical part of a critical component of competencies that the person needs if they want to use your portal, etc. And then, of course, the ability to use and institutionalize received knowledge. I think this is important, because if you have the KM strategy and your organization is interested in developing this huge database of knowledge, then it must be institutionalized. It's not something that's informal, and it has to be formalized to some extent, because as you know, COPs, if there is no formal structure, it will just collapse after a time. When the head resigns or retires, etc., there's no way it can be sustained and maintained. Yeah? So that is important, how to institutionalize the knowledge that we receive and which can be found in the huge database. Now my job today is just to summarize, which I've just done for you. So thank you very much. Hope to see you again at the next workshop. Okay?
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Datuk Dr. Zaidul Osman. Hadirin yang dimuliakan, bagi pihak Jabatan Kerja Raya dan Knowledge Connection Sdn Bhd, kami mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua hadirin dan tenaga kerja dari Jabatan Kerja Raya, Knowledge Connection Sdn Bhd dan juga Praxis yang telah menjadikan majlis kali ini antara yang terbaik dalam siri KCoNNect. Tidak dilupakan juga pihak ABT yang telah terlibat secara tidak langsung. Diharapkan sedikit sebanyak kita dapat membawa pulang sesuatu yang berharga sepanjang berlangsungnya KCoNNect 2016. Dengan ini, maka berakhirlah majlis KCoNNect 2016. Semoga kita berjumpa lagi di siri akan datang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sedikit makluman kepada para hadirin di dalam dewan ini. Representatif untuk setiap poster boleh membawa pulang poster masing-masing. Dan tidak dilupakan juga sebelum keluar dari dewan ini adalah siapkan evaluation form dan boleh diserahkan kepada pihak sekretariat di pintu utama. Untuk agenda seterusnya, kita akan beralih kepada sesi Knowledge Cafe yang akan berlangsung di Dewan Makan Conference Hall 2 di tingkat bawah. Salam hormat dan berjumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum.